Before we begin, I wanted to let you all know that this video was created for Monster Week. Monster Week is an annual community event created and organized by Ginny D and Pointy to bring together TTRPG creators on YouTube to build community, encourage collaboration, and help boost visibility for everyone's channel. Thank you guys so much for creating this, and of course, this year's theme is dragons. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review of a homebrew dragon. One of my favorite parts about being a DM is the fact that I can just make up whatever I want and throw it into my world. Whether it's an item, a boss, a character, an encounter, whatever. I can just make it up, put it into my world, and then my players can have a great time going through it. Or a bad time depending on if they've upset me or not earlier in the day. Now that is what is called Homebrew. And today I want to start a brand new series on this YouTube channel where I look at your guys' homebrews, whether it's items, bosses, characters, whatever, and give it a little review and see what I think of it. Whether you guys care about my opinion or not is totally up to you. But the first homebrew I'm going to be looking at is actually from a friend of mine. His name is Ginny. You can put a picture of whatever the hell you want up here. I really don't care. He sent me this homebrew, asked me if I could take a look at it, asked me to record myself doing it, so let's do it. The Heavenbreaker Homebrewery. Welcome. This is my homebrew project. If you're reading this, have a good rest of your day. Aw, how sweet. This has the objective to be a highly customizable experience. My focus here isn't on exact numbers. CR ratings are super precise data. Okay, that's fair. Honestly, I think the stats and the data are kind of the hardest things to figure out for balancing encounters. It's kind of hard to do so when you haven't playtested it. The idea is that this will provide a framework for other DMs to work with. The stats, CR, HP, AC, etc. will stay at DM's discretion unless I have very strong suggestions. That being said, enjoy it. First of all, very nice opening page here. Very, very kind words to start off with. We'll look at whatever stats you do provide. We're gonna look them over. Saying that all of those stats are DM's discretion, that's fair and all. You're looking to provide the bones of the character, while the bones of this, while the DMs themselves can fill in the rest. So okay, that's a perfectly good way to do it. 0, hate itself. Estimated for level 15 plus. Okay, so this is a harder encounter. Gotcha. 0, the one without love. 0, the one wanted by no one. 0, hate. Yeah, 0 hate. No, you can cut that part out. His name was given by his black dragon father, said to be a proper assessment of his value. Oh, daddy issues. Well, it is D&D. 0 was never loved, never cared for, and so when he was 10 years old, he vanished. He grew hateful. She knows every time I'm recording. He grew hateful of himself, of the world, of the beauty of the trees, and of the elves on his island. He hated them. Why am I not pretty? Why am I not loved? Why can't I be beautiful? He scorched them, his breath a black flame as dark as his heart. Burnt the forests, charred the villages. He spared none he found. He let none escape. He didn't want prisoners or servants. He wanted them dead, deformed, ugly. After years of doing this, the elves found a way to fight back. He was chained by the one thing he couldn't tolerate: beauty. A circle of snow white flowers that would never wither, keeping him at bay inside a cave deep in the island. 4 immaculate marble statues were erected on each of the island's far corners, the sheer stunning perfection enough to work like a spell against 0. But hate doesn't die easily. He grew to hate more, and it spread. Forests now wither, elves and travelers grow sick with an inner rot, peaceful animals go wild and with rage, and in their dreams a voice sounds: hate. Okay. So starting off with a description, it looks like you are painting a picture here, not just of 0 himself, of the entire encounter. So this isn't just a boss, this isn't just a character, this is an encounter all in itself. Looking at this, honestly a perfectly great way to set up to set this whole thing up. You know, you're basically giving a setting. You've given him you're giving him basically the DMs the feeling that they need to have when entering the mindset of this what looks to be a dragon. Yeah, you're painting this picture beautifully so far. I don't know if you're gonna have it later on. I don't know if you're gonna say later on throughout here, but I'm hoping to see a reason why he hates so much, other than his dad was a dick. But let's see. Let's continue on. Legendary actions can choose to succeed at any intimidation saves. Okay. That's not really legendary actions, more of a legendary resistance. But that's fine. I'm gonna assume here that the legendary actions are any action that he can do. Typically here it would say how many legendary actions he gets. Legendary actions are actions that he can perform at any point throughout the turn. Typically people or bosses would get 3 legendary actions per turn, and they can do specific actions. And they can do specific actions and it will list them right there. And then one attack might cost them 2 legendary actions to do. So they do that legendary action. Now they only have 1 action left until their next turn. But it looks like instead of having legendary actions, he has a legendary resistance, which is totally fair. It's totally fine to have. Attack actions. Hateful Heaven. 0 jumps high into the air with a weapon in hand, falling back down while swinging it downwards. 50 plus 3d10 damage if within 50 feet of the landing area. Okay, oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm assuming you gotta make like a melee attack here. I'm assuming 0 has to make a melee attack here, and it doesn't just straight up do 50 plus 3d10. That is almost 80 points of damage. That would be, if you roll all 10s on the d10s, that is 80 points of damage if that hits you. A wizard is dead. A wizard or a sorcerer is fucking dead. My God, you might want to nerf that ability just a little bit. The 3d10 is fine, but the 50? My God. Holy hell. If within 50 feet of the landing area, make a 15 con save or be knocked 10 feet away. That makes sense. Okay, within 50 feet, make a con save or be knocked 10 feet away. Probably also go prone. Again, DM's discretion. That is honestly perfectly fine. Probably more of personally, I would say probably more of a strength save than a con save. But it con also makes sense, so it could go either way. No Mercy for the Dead. 0 swings his blood weapon at a player, deals 15 plus 1d10 plus 10 plus 1d10 piercing damage. 15 plus 1d10? Oh, is the 15 plus 1d10 slashing damage? Okay, then that would make sense. Yeah, I would assume the 15 plus 1d10 is base slashing damage, and then the piercing damage is the 10 plus 1d10. Judgment. 0 roars. Players must make a 15 wisdom save or be frightened for 2 turns. This is followed by a claw attack. Deals 10 plus 1d6 plus 10 plus 1d6. Okay. I like this attack. I would probably make it 1 turn instead of 2. Actually, no, 2 turns makes sense. 2 turns actually does make more sense. And then followed by a claw attack. Okay. 10 plus 1d6 plus 10 plus 1d6. I'm assuming that's 1 for each hand. So yeah, okay. I dig it. Death by Hate. 0 uses his Hateful Flame breath weapon. This creates a 50-foot cone of black flames acts like magical darkness. Damn. Must make a 13 dex save or be hit. If hit, enter a madness state where all attacks will be directed at the closest entity for 2 turns. Make a wisdom save to exit the madness prematurely. Okay, I like that. Honestly, so far, the attacks, love them. The only one that I think needs to be reworked is the Hateful Heaven. That, either A, nerf the fuck out of that one, make it more like 20 at most 20. I guess it should be based around like his probably his strength, I would assume. Maybe 50 does make sense. I don't know. I would at the very least say like he can only do this so many times per day or something. But honestly, the rest of this, I like it. I dig it. Bonus action, blood for blood. If an attack hits and causes a bleeding wound, Zero can choose to pull out a blood weapon from it. That is metal as hell. But what indicates a bleeding wound? Is that like any type of like slash, like a cut? Like just any scrape, would that indicate a bleeding wound? Or is it like a special roll you have to make to determine if someone was hit and is now bleeding? Glade over death. Zero can jump in the air and glide, repositions himself without disadvantage. Airborne period lasts 3 turns, during which he can only be hit by long-range attacks. Okay, I like that. Guts. Zero can wound himself to pull out a blood weapon, dealing his own damage to him. Deals the 10 plus 1d6 plus 10 plus 1d6 piercing. Okay, the bonus actions, I like it. The other thing I kind of am curious about is what indicates a bleeding wound? Is it literally just any slash? Or is it like, do the slash and then roll like a percentile die or something to determine if it's bleeding or not? And traits. Self-hate martyr. Zero can't die from self-inflicted wounds. If reduced to 0 HP by himself, gains 200 HP back. Okay. That's a little OP. That is overpowered as fuck. So you're telling me that if I'm playing as Zero and the players get me down to like 9 HP, I can just do the guts bonus action, and then instead of going down to 0 HP, boom, he's back up to 200. That one I don't like. I don't know, I'm just trying to rationalize this in my brain. I don't like the thought of like a DM being like, okay, well they've injured him down to like this much. I'm just going to have him just himself. Oh, and now he's back to 200 HP. I don't know. I feel like that could be. I feel like it'd be better if he couldn't do that. If he couldn't do the self-hate martyr trait, because then the DM can't just straight up be like, oh, 200 HP, boom. Or at the very least, make it less than that. Make it like, I don't know, make it a roll. Make it like he get 5d10 health back or 8d10 health back or something like that. Like he can get like a bunch of health back, but it shouldn't be that much. It should at the very least come down to like a roll. But I don't know. All right, next one. Someone dead doesn't fear a blade. Zero can't be frightened, intimidated, or swayed away from combat. Okay, that makes sense. But it refused. If reduced to 0 HP, Zero regains 150 HP back and an advantage on his first attack. The only way to reduce him to 0 HP permanently is to do so as a mercy kill. Okay. Getting that information makes the self-hate martyr a little more makes the self-hate martyr trait it makes more sense now. Okay, so he can't be killed by regular means. It has to be a mercy kill. Okay, now it makes more sense. Okay, I still don't agree that it should be that much health, but again, I would need to play test it to determine if that's what needs to be changed. Okay, so here's the blood weapon pool. The great sword does plus 1d12. The axe does plus 1d10. Mace plus 2d10. Warhammer plus 2d12. Scythe plus 1d20. All right. Spear 10-foot range plus 1d12 piercing. Okay, and I like how you put it on like a little table here. So if the DM wants, they can just roll a d6 and get one of those. Okay, I actually like that. I can actually get down with that. All right, now let's see the mercy kill. If a character completely forgives 0 for his actions and misdeeds, they earn the ability of a mercy kill. They must succeed in 3 separate wisdom throws done over the course of 3 turns in order to unlock the ability and fully forgive him. Okay. So I can dig this. I like this. It's a totally different way of taking out a boss or taking out an encounter. I actually really dig that. That is a little bit of a unique way to do that. Yeah, honestly, like if a DM takes that, puts 0 in like a big major spot in the plot leading up to this point, and honestly, if I were DMing this, I'd probably make it to where like 0 does something really bad to the player characters. 0 probably like 0 would have to be like one of the main characters, one of the player characters' main antagonists, probably, because otherwise, like, what are you forgiving 0 for exactly? Like, I'm just trying to think of like if this was a mission that the player characters were sent to do by elves somewhere on this island. If the player characters themselves did not grow up on this island watching it deteriorate, then they might not care about what 0 has done to this place. So honestly, the player characters probably need proper context. Or the player characters would probably need they would need something to forgive 0 for, because as a player, if I were to just get onto this island, see it withering away, the cities and the forests are like burning and all that, player wise, I'd be like, oh well, sucks to be this island. And then like, I don't know, I feel like in order for the mercy kill, the character must completely forgive 0 for his actions. I feel like the actions would have had to be something that hurt the character for them to forgive him. So but I feel like that's up for the DM to figure out, like roleplay wise. All right, going on to the phases. Hatred. Named during phase, 0, self-hate martyr, phase HP above 40%. Phase abilities, festering rot. Strikes done with claws or blood weapons also apply 1d8 necrotic damage and instills a rot effect, dealing 1d4 damage until healed. Okay. Unwavering conviction. 0 is absolutely sure of his mission, goal, and role. He won't hesitate no matter what's said or shown to him. Illusions wield no effect. Neither do charm or frighten spells. Okay, I dig that. He's pretty much too bloodthirsty to be reasoned with, essentially. I grew in darkness. 0 can't take damage from necrotic sources. So does that mean like he can't take any? He's immune to necrotic damage entirely? Is that what that means? Because fuck. Oh, flavor for role-playing. Okay, I love this. 0 treats this fight as a righteous suicide. The world never wanted him, and he has no problems parting ways with it. However, he can't do it himself. His fight against the party is a desperate attempt at release, but coated in an acidic spite that still wants to cause pain as he goes down. 0 feels pain, however, it empowers him. Every wound is a way to make a new weapon. Every attack is a way to express his hate. 0 laughs, an acidic hissing sound that sounds empty of any joy. Instead, it's a laughter of despair. Zero may not want to truly die. He wants the pain to end. Okay, I actually really love that you put this here, this little role-playing guide here, because that helps out with the context of this fight and his hate. He's treating this fight as a righteous suicide. However, he can't bring himself to do it. Essentially, he wants to die and leave the pain away, but he doesn't. He wants the pain to stop, but he doesn't like want to truly do the deed himself. Okay, I get it. Grief. Name during phase, Zero Abandoned Soul. Phase HP above 10%. Phase abilities, Moonlight Needle. Zero's blood turns silver. His usual blood weapon table gets replaced by the Moonlight Needle. See stats below. Okay, so it looks like it's still the same weapons. It looks like all the damage is 2d10 regular damage, 1d10 piercing damage, and 1d6 radiant damage. Oof. Special conditions on a hit. Players must make a Wisdom 13 save or collapse in grief for 1 turn. Okay. Okay, and it's 13, so it's doable. Okay. Clarity in near death. Zero can't be affected by radiant damage. So he's immune to radiant damage. In this phase, I would assume that he can now be affected by necrotic damage now. Unstable. Zero may break into tears spontaneously. 1 out of 20 chance a dice roll is rolled every start of Zero's turn. Ooh, okay. This skips his turn, but all players must make a 13 wisdom save or be overwhelmed by grief, having all their attack stats. Okay. So basically, there's a 1 out of 20 chance if you're rolling nat 1, then Zero's turn is basically skipped and he just bursts into tears and starts crying. Any player that fails the 13 wisdom save also feels the grief, but I'm assuming they can still go during their turn. It just halves their damage. Oh, no, their attack. Okay. It halves their attack. So basically, they can't attack. They basically can't attack. Flavor for roleplay. Again, I really dig this. Zero now grieves for the life he never had, for all the time he spent wasting away in his hatred. He's in great emotional and physical pain. However, he's still resolute about going through with his pain. He sees this fight as a suicide, not a battle. He may speak in a teary voice while urging the players to hurry up. The laughter is gone. Only tears. Oh, it's kind of sad. It's getting kind of sad now. All right, and the last phase, resolution. Name during phase, 0. Phase HP below 10%. Phase abilities, finality. Zero sees it clearer than ever. He doesn't want to die. This dude needs to make up his damn mind. He gains an extra legendary action point. I'm assuming legendary resistance is what you mean. Due to his newfound will. Flavor for role-playing. Zero never wanted to die, but now he sees it, but he knows he can't abort the fight now. Only one side can walk out alive. He'll make sure it's him. Okay, so basically he turns into fucking Game 7. He turns into Game 7 Michael Jordan here. He's like, you know what? Fuck you. I want you dead. He'll comment about the passion he's feeling, the fiery will to fight for himself, and a strange form of self-appreciation buried deep in his soul. That being said, his hate still leaks outward. He shifts his hate from himself to the party. A manic sense of justice takes a hold of him as he pins down the guilt of his misery on his father and is dead set on winning this battle, finding him and killing him. Okay, so basically he gets a new lease on life when he gets below 10% HP. Okay, he gets a brand newfound will to fight. No longer wants to die. He wants you to die now. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Although with the phase HPs, it does confuse me on the traits that he had, in which if he's knocked to 0 HP, he bounces back up to 200 or 150. That now kind of confuses me a little bit, because if he bounces back up to 200 HP, does he go back to the first phase, does the fight basically restart? That's a little confusing for me. Other than that, I dig this encounter. This Zero encounter is unlike one I've ever heard of. Not so much so where he's driven by emotion, but like the abilities that he has where he can turn the blood into weapons is metal as hell and sick as hell. And the way that you kill him, it has to be like a mercy kill. Like you have to forgive him. Basically, well, forgive him. Essentially like show him the love that he never got is what I am hearing from this. You don't kill him by stabbing him to death. You kill him by showing him the love he never received throughout his life, which I think is a wonderful way to do it. I love that. And roleplay wise and story wise, I'm already turning the gears about how I can incorporate this encounter into my world. Honestly, I think I might just do that. There is a few things in here that do need to be balanced. Like I said, the Hateful Heaven attack where he slams down and does what could be 80 points of damage is a little insane. I may like that may need to be nerfed. Other than that, but you did say up here at the beginning that this is mainly just a framework thing. It isn't just like, you know, this isn't like a set in stone stats. Like you said straight up here, the stats and everything like that will stay at DM's discretion. So that is fine. But yeah, this is actually really good. I actually really dig this. You put a lot of passion and soul into this homebrew. And honestly, I like it. I like it. Zero, what's the name? Zero Hate Itself. I recommend. I honestly recommend this encounter. But yeah, honestly, really dig it, really love it. I would like to turn this into a series where I review your homebrew items, encounters, bosses, cities, characters, whatever. If you want me to review it if you want me to review something that you have homebrewed, you can send it to me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. If you have anything homebrew that you would like me to review and post, you can send it to me on Twitter or Instagram. The links are down below in the description. And also, if you enjoyed this and you would like to see this as a series, make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, goodbye.